Hi, my name is Lexi Davis, and today we'll show how analytics help organizations move from reacting to attacks to detecting them early and reducing impacts. In this scenario, we're going to be looking at a global manufacturing company. They operate across both IT and OT environments, and right now their SOC is mostly reactive. Their goal is to use analytics and Weiba to get ahead of threats. This company already has security tools, but they're mostly reacting after alerts fired. The goal is to use the analytics to get ahead of the threats. The company has facilities and employees spread around the world. It relies heavily on digital systems to protect IP and keep production running. Geopolitical tensions and supply chain risks increase their exposure. Because this company operates globally, any cyber incident can quickly turn into lost production and revenue. For our threat landscape, the biggest threats come from nation-state groups stealing industrial IP, cyber criminals running ransomware or selling access. Most attacks start through phishing emails, stolen credentials, VPN, or third-party access abuse. Manufacturers are attractive targets because they hold value IP and can't afford downtime. Our attacker objectives are to steal proprietary designs and formulas, disrupt manufacturing operations for leverage, gain privileged credentials to stay hidden long term. Attackers aren't just stealing data, they want leverage through disruption and persistence. For our attack life cycle overview, attacks usually follow a pretty predictable pattern: recon, initial access, lateral movement, persistence, and impact. Most attacks follow the same life cycle, and analytics are especially valuable after attackers get inside. First, we're going to be looking at our recon and initial access. Attackers research employees, suppliers, and systems. They reuse leaked credentials or send phishing emails, and VPNs and remote access tools are common entry points. Initial access is usually simple, but the real challenge is detecting what happens next. Next, we have lateral movement and impact. Once inside, attackers move quietly across the network. They abuse service accounts and remote access tools. The end result is data theft, ransomware, or OT disruption. Once attackers move laterally, perimeter defenses don't really help much anymore. Why traditional SOCs struggle? Analysts get overwhelmed by too many alerts. Their logs are scattered across different systems. There's very little visibility into abnormal behavior. SOCs often have alerts, but not enough context to know which ones actually matter. Next, we have our defense in depth enabled by analytics. Analytics strengthen every layer of defense. There's many layers. There's people, processes, technical, and physical layers. Analytics don't replace defense in depth, they just make it better. For our people layer, where things usually break down, or analysts get overloaded and miss key signals, or insider threats often go unnoticed. How analytics help? UEBA shows when user behavior looks unusual, insider risk analytics connect cyber activity to HR events. UEBA helps us spot behavior that doesn't match what's normal for a user. In our process layer, where things break down, there's an incident response that's mostly reactive. All vulnerabilities are treated the same. Analytics can help because risk-based scoring highlights are what actually matters. Threat hunting becomes proactive instead of ad hoc. Analytics help teams focus on what's likely to cause the real damage. The technical layer next. Where things break down here is usually security tools don't talk to each other, and lateral movement often goes unnoticed. How analytics help this? SIEM correlates data across the environment. EDR analytics catch suspicious endpoint behavior. And network analytics improve OT visibility. The value isn't more tools, it's connecting data across these tools. Last, we have our physical layer. Where things break down here is the physical access and cyber access are treated separately. Analytics help this because badge data is correlated with login activity. Unusual facility access patterns are flagged. When physical and cyber access don't line up, that's a strong signal analytics can catch. For our analytics data sources, internally the company collects login and access logs, endpoint and firewall data, VPN and OT telemetry, and externally it relies on threat intelligence feeds, ISAC sharing, and dark web monitoring. Good analytics depend on having the right data from both inside and outside the organization. For our analytics methods, Weba builds a baseline of normal behavior. Graph analytics map relationships between users and systems. Predictive analytics help anticipate which vulnerabilities will be exploited. These methods help security teams move from detection to anticipation. Next up, we're sharing insights. SOC teams use dashboards for day-to-day operations. Executives see risk trends at a high level. Automated alerts go directly to system owners. Different audiences need different views of the same analytics. Now on to our case study. The first one we're looking at is SolarWinds. Attackers compromised the software supply chain. Malicious updates blended in with normal activity. This all could have been prevented if behavioral analytics could have exposed this earlier. SolarWinds shows how attackers exploit trust and why these behavioral analytics matter. Our next case study is Fancy Bear. It's a nation-state threat group known for long-term, stealthy intrusions. It relies heavily on phishing and credential theft for initial access, and it uses living off-the-land techniques to blend into normal activity. Behavioral analytics and Weba are critical for detecting subtle anomalies early. Fancy Bear blends into normal activity quite often, which makes analytics essential for detection. And our last case that we're looking at is Stuxnet. It was a highly targeted attack against Iranian nuclear facilities. The malware hid itself within normal industrial control system behavior. Traditional security tools missed it due to lack of OT-focused analytics. Advanced behavioral and anomaly analytics were key lessons learned. Stuxnet proves why anomaly detection is critical in OT environments. Some patterns across the cases. All three attacks avoided traditional signature-based detection. Adversaries blended into normal behavior using trusted access paths. Early indicators existed but were lost in noise or ignored. Analytics would have reduced dwell time and limited business impact. OT and supply chain visibility gaps consistently increased risk. In all three cases, the issue wasn't the tools, but it was missing insight. Management recommendations that I have would be to invest in Weba integrated with SIEM and EDR. I'd move forward with vulnerability management, move it to a risk-based model. Formalize threat hunting across the organization, and bring OT environments into SOC visibility. These actions reduce risk while supporting business continuity. Some metrics that leadership should watch is how long it takes to detect an incident, how many alerts come from analytics versus signatures, and trends in high-risk user or entity behavior. Metrics helps leadership confirm that analytics investments are actually working. Some of the key concepts that I used in this presentation is defense in depth, WEBA, threat intelligence, risk-based vulnerability management, SIEM and log correlation, insider threats, alert fatigue, and threat hunting. In conclusion, analytics shifts security from reactive to proactive. They directly support business continuity, and this approach is critical for modern manufacturers. Analytics help organizations stay ahead of attackers instead of constantly catching up. Thank you.